Good morning. I am Abayomi, and I'll be taking you through the cryptocurrency basics course. In this video, this will cover the part one of the basics to cryptocurrency course. However, these are the outlines, and these are what we covered in the part one of the course. So we'll be talking about the things you need to get started. We'll be talking about crypto. We'll be talking about the blockchain technology. We'll be talking about crypto 101, and under this we'll discuss what cryptocurrency is, what makes it unique, why is it called cryptocurrency, and who invented it. We'll also be talking about different use cases of cryptocurrency, talking about the cryptocurrency wallet and how you can store your cryptocurrencies. I'll be explaining addresses and what seed phrase means. Then I'll be explaining different means in which you can get coin. I'll also be talking about different cryptocurrency Ponzi schemes and how to avoid them. We'll be talking about exchanges, and we'll also be sharing different ways or method to invest your money in cryptocurrency. You're welcome to the course and congratulations. I applaud you for the decision you take to learn these high-paying income skills. I am Olaitan Abayomi. It is important to note to you that I am not a financial advisor, and this is to emphasize that the financial market isn't controlled by me. This tutorial is basically for educational purpose only. Cryptocurrency trading is a risky one. Some coins will make you rich, some will give you peanuts, and some will take your money away. However, you are advised to manage your expectations properly. Cryptocurrency is also not the only form of investment. Do make sure that you also find out the number of others. I would also advise that you learn at your pace, and happy learning. Welcome on board once again. So diving into the course, I'll be telling you the things you need to get started in cryptocurrency. You're going to need a phone, and definitely your phone should have internet subscription. You'd also be needing a starting capital, which I believe is not actually the first thing. The first thing is your willingness and desire to learn. You also be needing a laptop, which in my opinion is not that important at first. You can do so well with your phone, as I'm also doing this recording on my phone and not on the laptop. You'll be needing a means of identification, such as your voter's card, your national passport, or driving license, as some platforms will require you to do KYC, which is known as Know Your Customer. However, it is not all platforms that actually require you to do this, so you can either do with or without a means of identification. So, we'll be starting the course with talking about the blockchain technology. It is important to talk about this first, as it forms the basis of cryptocurrency trading entirely. As I mentioned, the blockchain technology is a technology upon which cryptocurrency works. Just like some other scenarios that we can create that works, and they work on different technologies. For instance, let's say a moving vehicle. There are a lot of systems in the vehicle that made it possible for the vehicle to be propelled. So similar stuff we can link to what blockchain is to cryptocurrency. Now, blockchain is a technology upon which cryptocurrency is built. So it is the technology upon which cryptocurrency works. Just like the engine of the car, the blockchain and the whole car can be likened to the cryptocurrency. This means that without blockchain technology, the cryptocurrency will not be able to function properly or will not even be able to function at all. Hence, the blockchain technology is also referred to as the open ledger system. And when we talk about ledger is just like a system of recording. And when we say open, it means it is not hidden, it is open, everyone can see it. So ledger is a means of record keeping, and open means it is transparent. Then blockchain, breaking it down, you can break it down into um, block and chain. So it is a collection of data and information that are stored in a chain. So that means informations are stored in the block, and this series of blocks they form a chain. That means different blocks combined together. So this is a revolutionary technology, and it has been impacting different industries. And it is important I emphasize to you that the blockchain is not the same as Bitcoin. The blockchain technology is described as a data structure that holds transactional record while it is ensuring its security, transparency, and decentralization. As we move on, you'd get to understand all these better. So I would employ you to stay with me as I take you through. It is a distributed ledger completely open to everyone in the network. And this means that everyone in the network, I mean the blockchain network now, network is the combinations or interconnection of different people or different technologies or different computers in the system. So all any informations that are being recorded in a specific block, they are not hidden from anybody. Everybody in the system are able to access it, and they are able to see these informations. So as a chain of records, they are stored in form of blocks, and they are not controlled by a single entity. And this is what decentralization means when I mentioned it earlier. That means no single person has an autonomous control over it. Then it is said to be tamper proof, and it cannot be changed. Yes, any information that is in the blockchain cannot be changed. And as we go on, I'll explain to you the reason why this is so. Then the blockchain technology also allows all the network participants to make an agreement, commonly known as a consensus. I told you that the network it comprises of different individuals, like different computers in the network, and all these they form the network participants, and all the network participants they have to come to an agreement that is actually known as consensus. That is the term, and this is why this is not controlled by somebody. It is decentralized, and it is not autonomous to just a single individual, just like the banks and the government in the case of currencies of countries, and in the case of fiat money. So each transaction on the blockchain is secured with a digital signature that proves its authenticity. So due to this, it is employed by the use of encryption and digital signatures. The data are now stored in a blockchain, which forms a tamper-proof, and it cannot be changed. So encryption is just the process of encoding information, and this converts the original representation of information into something only authorized parties can accept. So sometimes when you see the codes of blockchain, you might not be able to read it if you are not familiar with those terms, and if you are not in the network. So all the data stored on blockchain are recorded digitally and has a common history which is available to all the network participants. So this way the chances are any fraudulent activity or duplication of transactions is eliminated without the need of third party. In order to understand blockchain better, I would advise you to consider this example where you are looking for an option to send money to your friend who lives in a different location. Let's say you want to send money to somebody who live from Nigeria. I'm recording this video from Nigeria, and you want to send somebody who lives in, let's say, United States of America. So the general option that you can normally use is you go via bank transfer or Western Union, or you do payment transfer by applications like PayPal. All the above options, they actually involve third parties in order to process your transaction. And in these processes, extra amount of your money is actually deducted as, let's say, transaction fee or charges. And moreover, in cases like this, you also cannot ensure the security of your money, as it is highly possible that hackers might disrupt the network or steal your money. And in both cases, it is the customer, the person sending the money, and the receiver that suffers it. So this is where blockchain comes in. So instead of using the bank for transferring money, if we use blockchain in such cases, the process becomes much easier and secure, and there is no extra fee involved as funds are directly processed by you, and thus eliminating the need for you to pay third party. Moreover, the blockchain is a database of decentralized, and it is not limited to, let's say, any single location, meaning that all the information and record kept on blockchain are public and decentralized. That is, no single person is controlling it, and it is made public. Everyone can have access to it. And since this information is not stored in a single place, there is no chance of corruption of the information by any hacker. So I would also explain to you when I get to the pictorial representation how it is difficult for an hacker to actually tamper with the blockchain technology. So we'll be talking about how the blockchain work. A blockchain is a chain of blocks that contain data or different informations. Despite being discovered early, the first successful and popular application of the blockchain technology came into being in the year 2009 by an unknown group of persons, or unknown person um, referred to as Satoshi Nakamoto, and the first application was actually Bitcoin. In the course of the video, I'll also be sharing other applications of blockchain to you. So the block is the smallest unit of blockchain, like the smallest unit. That means it is possible to have different blocks, in their numbers. So each blocks contain a data. So what we mean by data, there are different components in there. We have the sender's address, we have the receiver's address, we have the time in which the transaction is made. We also have the amount that's been transacted. Also, we have what is called an hash. Hash is just like the identification of a block, somewhat like a serial number. And we also have the hash of the previous block, like the identification of the previous block. So these are linked together to form a blockchain. As you can see that in this explanation I just made, you can see how one block is actually linked to the other, because for each block it contains a data, it contains a hash, and it contains the hash of the previous block. So this, the hash of the previous block, it means the information in the previous block is linked to the new block, and the information of the present block will also be linked to another block that is formed. So that is why it is difficult for hackers to actually tamper with blockchain, because when they tamper with one block, these blocks are linked together. That means you have to tamper with the next block. You have to tamper with countless number of blocks, and the first things that make it difficult is the time constraints in order to access all the blocks in all these in the systems. And for every blocks to get tampered, there is a there's so much resources going into it, and in which any hacker is not capable of doing that. So what do I mean by a hash? A hash is a unique mathematical code which belongs to a specific block. And if the information inside the block is actually modified, the hash of the block will be subject to modification too. So this connection of blocks through unique hash is what makes the blockchain secured, as I have mentioned earlier. So why transactions take place on blockchain? There are nodes on the network that validate the transaction. So these nodes are referred to as computers, and definitely these computers are actually individuals that take part in the blockchain network. So in Bitcoin blockchain, there are nodes that are called as miners, and they use the concept of proof of work to process and validate transaction. The proof of work is just a method in which these individuals, they solve a series of mathematical problems, and for the first person that solve the problems, and the first person that solve the problem, they get rewarded with a certain amount of Bitcoin. So when we talk about blockchain network, I talked about different different applications of blockchain. So that means for different cryptocurrencies, they work on certain blockchains. It doesn't mean that for every cryptocurrency they have their own specific blockchains. There are cryptocurrencies that work on the blockchain of other cryptocurrencies. For example, so now for the case of Bitcoin, that means Bitcoin has its blockchain network, like Ethereum also has its blockchain. For other applications, whether for security reasons or for identification management, they can also have their blockchain. So we'll still dive into the applications, and you'd see better. So this is just the graphical representation of blockchain. As you can see that I have a block here. There is another one here. There is another one here. So in this picture, I'm just showing us three blocks. So if you look at this very well, you notice that the hash of this block is actually linked to this new block. I said the hash is just the identification of the block. So the first one is 17RQ. As you can see, is also part of what is in block 2, and the hash of block 2 is also linked to block 3. So this is how blockchain is linked, and you have series of blocks like that, and these are the components of every block. I've mentioned them earlier: the data, the hash, and the hash of the previous block. So it is also important to talk to us about the features of block or blockchain. So the first one I'll be talking about is decentralized. Blockchain is decentralized, and I'm sure in the course of my explanation, in the course of my explanation, you'd have been hearing me mentioning decentralized. So blockchain is decentralized in nature, meaning that there's no single person or group that holds the authority of the viral network. So while everybody in the network has a copy of the distributed ledger with them, it is made public. No one can modify it or his own on our own. Like nobody can alter it independently. And this unique feature of blockchain allows transparency and security while giving power to the users. So this is what is lacking in the banking system that we've all been familiar with. The governments are in charge of your money, the banks are in charge of your money. Sometimes you don't even have autonomy on your money. Your money will be lying in the bank, and you'd have to go through rigorous processes for you to be able to get your money. So another feature is that it is a peer-to-peer network. So with the use of blockchain, the interaction between two parties through a peer-to-peer is between parties. So it is a peer-to-peer model, and it is easily accomplished without the without the without you needing a third party, so to say. So blockchain uses peer-to-peer. That means from sender A to sender B, or individual A to individual B. They don't need an intermediary, and this allows all network participants to hold an identical copies of transactions, enabling approval through a machine consensus. For example, let's say you wish to make any transaction from one part of the world to another. Let's say you want to send money from Nigeria to the United States. You can do that with blockchain all by yourself in few seconds, and you don't need to depend on somebody to do that for you. Another feature is its immutability. Blockchain is immutable. So it refers to the fact that any data once written on blockchain cannot be changed. So to understand immutability, consider sending email as an example. Once you send an email to a bunch of people, you cannot take it back. This is how immutability works. So once data has been processed on blockchain, it cannot be altered or changed. In case of blockchain, if you try to change the data of one block, then you would have to change the entire blockchain following it, as each blocks, as you said earlier, stores the hash of the preceding block. So to change one hash will lead to changing all the following hashes. So that means you have to go to all the preceding blocks, and you have to go to the successing blocks to make those changes. So this is why it is extremely complicated for someone to change all the hashes, as it requires a lot of computational power to do so, and energy and all of those things. So hence the data once stored in blockchain is not susceptible to alterations, and this is why it is different. It is difficult for hackers to take down blockchain due to its immutability. Then another feature is that it is tamper proof. So with the property of immutability embedded in blockchain, it becomes easier to detect tampering of any data. So blockchain are considered tamper proof, as any change in even one single block can be detected and addressed smoothly. So there are two key ways of detecting tampering, namely hashes and true blocks. So as described earlier, each hash functions associated with a block is unique. So every block has their own unique hash, and you can consider hash like something like a fingerprint of a block. It is unique. The fingerprint is unique to every individual. So let's talk about popular applications of the blockchain technology. And the very first one we are familiar with is the cryptocurrency. You know, the bitcoins, the ether, the Binance coin, the Litecoin, and so on and so forth. So for these cryptocurrencies to work, they have to use this um, technology to carry out and record their transactions, and this way it enables smooth transactions and no needing of a third party. Also, another application is the smart contract, and um, to just make it um, easy for you to know what smart contract is. Smart contracts are some of those things you might have heard about in the past. Let's say, for example, Forsage, Lion Share. I think there's another one, Metaphors. So those are examples of smart contracts that are built on blockchain technology, and they make use of this blockchain technology. However, in my own opinion, it is not all smart contracts that you should be part of. I would also talk about this later on. Another application of blockchain technology is government election. Talking about different characteristics of blockchain technology, it is also used in government elections. And this helps keep in check all these vote buying, rigging, and all of those things. It is also used in identity management, just like storing the data of people in a country. So you can use the blockchain technology to do that. Also, in intellectual property protection, you can use it to protect your property, your digital assets, and all of those things. So these and many more things are the application of blockchain. And as we also progress in the digital age, I'm sure that there are still some other applications that will be unraveled, because as we speak, researches are also being carried out on blockchain technology, and new things are coming up every day. So this will mark the end of the blockchain class. So in the next video in this part, we'll be talking about cryptocurrency 101, and we'll be talking about different things in there, talking about what cryptocurrencies are, why are they called that, what makes them unique, and so on and so forth. So please join me in the next class, and do have a lovely day. Eventually you're seeing this video on YouTube, and I appreciate that you've been able to spend time to get to this point. Kindly like and subscribe to the channel, and please do share this video to your friends so that they can also be part of this high income skill of the 21st century. Thank you, and see you in the next class.